Shadow here has some anxiety problems. Got him, and he'd been rescued from the side of the freeway. So he's always been, he's a really good dog when he's in situations that aren't unfamiliar, but new people, new places, like whatever's going on right now, it's whiny and a little, definitely spazzy. Like he'll like be jolty and all that kind of thing. But when he's at home,
it's okay. Continue.
when he's at home, he's pretty chill. When he's in a routine that he's comfortable with. So I can't really take him on walks because I guess being by the side of the freeway, he has a phobia of moving cars, things like that, and it like he'll just like try to dart away, tail between his legs shaking, all that kind of stuff. So I definitely want to be able to work on that.
So just show us how Shadow does a sit-stay. I know he's a little bit nervous right now.
Let's see how he does.
But let's just see if you can do a sit-stay.
Sit. Good boy, stay.
Now,
Stay.
can you walk? Can you have him sit? Go back to right here.
Walk him over.
Right. Or just start here again, and then do a sit-stay, which is where you walk around the dog.
Oh, okay.
So it's sit.
Sit.
And then see if he has a sit-stay where you can walk around him, and he stays there. And then walk around the other way, both ways. Okay.
Stay.
So he's kind of got something,
Yeah.
but he could definitely use it more.
Yes.
Now, what about a down?
Sit. Down.
Keep trying. See if you can get him to do it.
Almost. Down. Good boys.
And now do the walk around down stay. Okay. So he could be better, both of those. So what we're going to do is we're going to eliminate ever saying anything twice. So he'll do it the first time.
Right.
We don't say stay anymore at all. So no more hand signals and no more stay because we build stay into the sit or down.
Got it.
So we're going to make that a lot better. Now show me how he comes to you, like practice a come.
Should I take him, have him stay, and then have him come back?
No, just call him out of being free like that. Yeah, just let him walk around and then call him to come.
He just won't follow.
Now call him to you.
Shadow, come here.
So you use his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes.
But does he know what come means?
I don't use come. I don't use that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've really trained him on that word.
Okay. So let's see if he'll do it with me. Go over there and he'll follow you, and then I'll say, Shadow, come! And of course he doesn't, right?
Right.
So this is the before video, the after video.
Cool.
Okay? Great. That's it. We are doing this greeting routine with Shadow, and Shadow is very nervous because he doesn't know the person that's pointing the camera at us, and you know how nervous he gets, but he's still going to be able to handle it. So I stepped away, I had him sit, I stepped away, gave the person that we're sending him over to a little treat to give him. Go say hi, and he may or may not take the treat. If he doesn't, that's okay. Come. You're not going to be having a stranger point a camera at you while you're doing this greeting routine. So I guess doing this with Shadow being nervous is, you still have some, here's some more, is a way of showing you how you can still do it even when he's at his worst and, upset about something that's happening close by to you. He's still handling it somehow. Go say hi. Good boy. And you should, when he comes over to you, you should just take his leash like that and just do that so he stays there. So I'm just going to do it a few more times, but see how I'm stepping into him. If I need to reset him so that he's sitting straight in front of the person, it'll be, you just do another turn. If he lags behind, you coax him to catch up with you just like I did, and just reset him like you just saw me do, and then go say hi. There you go, buddy. He's really nervous about the camera person. Come, but don't let go next time, okay? Sit. treat. This time, hang on, don't let go, okay? Go say hi, go. There you go. Come. There we go, that's the way it's supposed to go. We step into him. One more, we'll do one more. Sit, and actually, you should practice this in your house, in your backyard, always, all the stuff, all the training. Practice first in your environment where there are no distractions, just so that you can get a better feel for how this goes, so he can get used to you doing it with him, or him doing it with you, and you know, give you a chance to do it in an easy situation so you can just get the moves down. Don't try it the first time with somebody out in front of your house and where a lot of stuff is going on. Go, one last time. There you go. Come. Good boy. Come here, right here. Good boy. Of course, he's trying to stay as far away from the person pointing that strange thing at us as possible. So when he came to me, he's over on this side, but you know how he is when he's afraid of something. Last time. I'm going to finish up this little greeting routine, and I'm going to show you just a couple of things you can throw in there. You can practice a sit-stay, and if you're practicing with a friend, somebody he knows really well, in your yard with no big distraction like what we have here, or with a family member or somebody that he's very comfortable with, you can do all these extra things like practice the sit-stay and all that before you send him over. It just makes him focus for a little bit longer in the sit-stay before he goes over. Go say hi and takes the reward, which he's taking now. Come. So what happened was our battery went dead on the camera. Camera person took 5 minutes to get the next sit, the other camera that was charged up, and he relaxed a little. And now after a few minutes of doing this, he's a little bit more relaxed, not quite as afraid of her. And he took the treat from him and me. So you see, if you just power through a situation and use the training, he calms down and gets less afraid and has less anxiety, pretty quickly now, as long as you just stick with the program. Like, just make sure that he does his sit stays, make sure that he goes over and you call him to come, and make sure you might have to kind of, step into him more, or come on buddy, or whatever, coax him to go where you want him to go, but don't let that him having anxiety in whatever situation it is, make you not do the training, because it's that structure where you're going through the whole system with him and he's working for you, that allows him to focus and kind of push that anxiety out, because he's working for you, he's thinking, and that's the state of mind that all good things come from. It's certainly a lot better than not having him engage his mind at all and him just freaking out and you trying to pull him around on his leash and get him out of there. So even though he's still whining, he's working though. He's got enough focus still to be able to stay there and wait to be released. And every time we do this in a situation where there's things going on that formerly would have made him freak out, he gets a little bit better. So just always, stick with the program and just keep doing it this way. One last time, go say hi and just pet him. Good boy. Go pet him. Grab that leash. There. Come. Good boy. I am leading Shadow up to the mat. And see how I'm sit. He's a little bit too far away from the mat. Okay. Sit. But he's afraid of the camera person who's now standing right there. But we're still going to just power through this drill here. So you bring him up to the mat, you have him sit before you send him on. He's going to be on your left, of course. With your right hand, you pat his chest and you say, go to your mat, and you walk over with him and you say, down. He might sit crooked, especially if he's nervous about something. So you have two choices. You can take a handful of this natural balance, which we use for treats, and you can lure him. If he's too nervous and he's not hungry enough, he's not going to move. So if that doesn't work, you need to just reset him. Okay, because you want him straight on the mat, and do a tight turn so that down. And he goes back exactly where he was. So we're going to show you how to do this though. Okay. Down. Okay, come here, this way, right here. Right here, right in the center there. Down. So I've kind of used I stood on the mat so he can go all the way to the edge, and that's good enough. Make sure when you reward him that you place the reward on the mat. Good, and he waits till you withdraw and he takes it off the mat. And having that 2 or 3 second pause down there is very valuable. Good, because he has to really be focused and wait and respectful of you and not try to grab it out of your hand or touch your hand or sniff your hand or whatever. He has to wait until you actually place it on the mat, withdraw, and then he takes it off the mat. So you're not throwing it down, you're not, moving in a very jerky way or nervous way. It's very just kind of calm and relaxed. Place it on the mat. Good, and say good when he takes it, because if you say good a few hundred times when he takes rewards at that very moment, he's going to have this great feeling about hearing this word good later on when we phase the rewards out for pretty much everything. He's going to have a great feeling when you say good. So in the beginning, we're just doing this downstay, and now because we practice on a mat like this, he'll do this downstay in most places. But I taught him this downstay by practicing on the mat from day one when he first came here. We were in a fenced yard, a large fenced yard, so it's not dangerous to drop the leash and walk away. I'm even going to go over here and close the gate behind me. Just want to show you what kind of downstay he has. If he makes a mistake like that, you say no. He wants to go in the house because he's still nervous about the person he doesn't know pointing a camera at him, and I don't blame him. So if he makes a mistake, you just say no, and you use your body to reset him. And since he's really nervous right now, I think I'm going to focus on him just staying down rather than being straight. Later on, once he would be comfortable, like if we filmed a lot like this, he'd be comfortable after a while, and I'd focus on other smaller things. But right now, I just want him to stay down. So I'm going to walk way over here. I'm going to go back, give him a reward. Always reward from in front, no matter where you go, no matter what noises you make or anything like that. Always make sure that you do it the same way. It always ends the same way. You come back here. Good. You had to kind of crawl to get that. That's okay. Now I'm going to go over here. And if you're going to do something that you think might be difficult for him, it's okay to remind him down before you do it, like going outside or going through a gate or something like that. No. If he gets up, I'm just going to do the same thing. We're going to reset him. You just stay calm, stay focused. Put him back. And I'm just going to try to get this last little success down. Just opening this gate, stepping through it, show where I am right now. And then it popped up again. Nope. So if you run into a sticking point in your training, okay, you're trying to teach him how to deal with a certain distraction, he's having trouble, just stay calm. See how I just gently but firmly eased him back down. Don't pop him, jerk him, stomp on the leash or anything like that. He's already nervous enough, so he needs to be handled in a firm way but a gentle way, just as you see me doing it now. So stay calm, be very, be very consistent. I'm just shooting for this last success, and then we'll end it on a success, and he'll be done, and he'll be a little bit better because of what we did today. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to remind him down. You can show him now. I'm just going to go out here real quick. and then I'm going to come back, and this time he's going to do it successfully. So if you have a couple mistakes like you just saw me have trying this, and then you have a success, what I'm doing now is I give a bigger reward when he has a success, and I say excellent, a special word that marks that first time he did something the right way. And I actually have been practicing this exercise mostly in the house, and he's just so perfect in the house. I thought I would just film doing it outside in the yard, because you have a yard as well, and it's going to be harder for him to do this outside because this guy's a homebody. He likes to isolate in the house, and so that doing the mat exercise in the house with the knocking on the door and things like that, that's easy for him. It's being outside, because we have the noises on the street, things like that, that remember how he used to be. He would hear a noise on the street in here and he just would flip out. So doing this mat exercise outside is more difficult, so that's why I'm doing the video outside like this. But you see how something spooks him, how you get him to have a success. And like if we did this every day, pretty soon in a few days I'd be able to go out both gates, disappear, come back out, and be able to knock on the gate. Just go a little bit further every time you do it. Or if he keeps making a mistake, like if he kept making that mistake over and over again 4 or 5 times or whatever, I would probably not do so much. I'd probably just walk over there but not go through the gate, and come back a couple times, reward him, and end on that success. Because sometimes you try things that are just too much for the dog to handle, and then you try it again, do it in an easier way, and try doing that again in a few more days, after he's has a little bit more focus, and then you have a success at it, and then you move on to the next challenge. So do everything gradually, and then just move a little bit further every day, and you'd be amazed how far you can get along in even a few weeks, how much he can change if you do things very gradually. So the way to release him is you're going to come back, stand next to him, you're going to pat your leg and say, okay, walk him off the mat and have him sit, and then to release him, pat his chest and say, go. And make sure you pick up that mat or lead him somewhere else, because he's going to want to go hang out on it. It's not a doggy bed. It's a very exclusive spot. You only do that one interactive exercise with him there. That's not to be left on the floor. You put it down, you go get him, he's on a leash, he has to be allowed to go on it, he has to be allowed to come off of it, and then it gets put away. So it's a very exclusive place, that training mat, where he only comes off and goes on with your permission. It's not for free time, it's not a doggy bed, it's only for this one thing. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna have him sit before we go in the crate. Open the door, and we've never used the crate in the yard here before. The crate is inside, but I just want to show you in the most difficult way possible how to put him in the crate, just in case you have a problem at your house. And I have a little piece of chicken. Go, and tossing it in. No, you go that way. There you go. Try to go around the crate. And then, so he eats the chicken, and he turns around and gets another piece of chicken. Why wouldn't he want to love to go in there? He's really easy to put in and out of the crate in the house, but when you have the crate in a new spot where he's never done it before, it's always much harder. So I just showed you how to do it in case you ever have an issue with putting him in the crate. He loves his crate. He loves to isolate in there. We developed the crate here as much more than just a cage that you put him in. It's his den. He eats in there. He gets Chewy's bones, all kinds of good stuff in there. All good things happen in the crate. We let him in and out of the crate all day long, so they're never in the crate for very long. But it's a very structured in and out routine of the house as well. So he goes in the crate that way. You saw he had to wait to be allowed to go in there. I did the same motion of go, but I just had a piece of chicken and I threw it in as I made that motion. And usually if people have an issue with the dog going in the house, if they just do that for a day or two, 4 or 5 times a day, then the dog starts going in there. And then you don't have to throw food in or a special treat in to get him to go in. You just pat his chest and say go. But when he goes in and turns around, do give him the second treat as you take off his equipment, like I just did. I took off his prong collar and his choke chain, and you saw how quickly I did it as he was munching on his other treat, and I closed the door. So every interaction with him in the crate is very positive. and that's why he loves his crate, and that's why you want to keep doing that, because you always want him to see your hands coming. You always want him to like to see your hands coming, to look forward to that, look forward to you putting the collar on, taking it off. When you take him out of the crate, and let's say that we're taking him out of the crate and we're going to take him for a walk out on the street, I'll just do the whole routine. The first thing you're going to do, because we always take the prong collar off and any equipment off when he's in there. First thing you want to do is hook him up to this choke chain, because the choke chain, it's not to be used for training. It would be very dangerous for his throat, because obviously it's just a metal chain. There's no safety. It doesn't just close so far. It's not fitted to his neck like this is. It just would choke him, and it over time could mess up his throat. So this is always hanging loose, but in case the prong collar ever comes off, then this that's hanging loose would come into play and you wouldn't lose him out in public. So that's the only reason why we use a choke chain. So we always double up the training collar with the choke chain. Just the choke chain is the backup, just in case. And we're using this tiny little prong collar. It's the smallest size they make, and sometimes it comes off, because this is not one of those big, giant, crazy, thick prong collars. It's kind of delicate, actually, but you see how we're using it throughout the video. We're not using it to cause pain. There is no pain in the way you use it. It's actually a very powerful tool to keep him on a loose leash, because it closes with the same pressure all the way around, and if you just tap it, it keeps the leash loose and it keeps him from pulling, and you can see the results already. He's not half the puller that he used to be. So it's not to be used to cause pain. It's like a power steering on your dog is what it is. It makes it so much easier for you to handle him than just a regular collar. So we're gonna so I have this attached to the choke chain. We're just gonna slip this over his head. If you ever have a problem, some dogs have a problem and you try to put this over their head and they're like this, put your hand through with a little treat, stick it in there, he's munching on the treat, and I just slide it over his head. Easy as that. So we got that on. The prong collar, it's so easy. You probably used them already. I think you have bigger ones than this. You always just, if he's facing you, just like this, and you just hook them together. You can use it from any link. And the leash is attached to the funny looking buckle. The perfectly round one here is just a spacer, so you don't touch the round ring there. That's a spacer. So you just go like this. It's always the highest collar up, so it's above the other collars. It's right underneath his ears, and once it's on, like it is now, you just hook the leash up to it. Now we're hooked up to both collars. So if I wasn't explaining it to you, it probably would have taken me all of 10 or 15 seconds. And he's going to wait in there until you allow him to come out. It's actually an exercise that I practice with him, and good. I reward him when he doesn't come out. If he tries to come out before you allow him to come out, because this is really important, this boundary training thing, no, just give it a little, not even a slam, it's just kind of a little, a bouncy close like that, if he ever tries to come out without you allowing him to. And then, good, when he waits, he gets a reward. So you see he'll wait. Good, as I stand up, give him more rewards. He's waiting for me to allow him to come out. Okay, make sure you control this boundary that way. He has to wait for permission to go in, and he has to wait for permission to come out. You're controlling this really special place to him, and it makes you more serious in his eyes. You're more of, the person in charge. If you're controlling his access in and out of his favorite place in the world, his den, where he eats and he gets treats and all that kind of stuff, then you must be in charge in his mind. So it's a real simple thing that if you do it, changes the dog's perception of who you are, along with a mat and the way you're handling him, and doing the other training and always stepping into him, like you'll see in the other clips on this video. They're all pieces of the puzzle that fit together to change his perception of you, so he feels more confident, feels safer, and it all adds up. So right now he's just nervous because of the camera person, but the crate is a good thing to keep doing, so I hope that you keep using the crate at your house. Okay. I want to show you how I've been handling Shadow on the leash. We're going to do it in the yard because you know how he is out on the street, and it's not as easy to control him. Although when we went to your house, he's much better there actually than he is on this street. I think it's because he's more comfortable in your environment than he is here. So the whole concept though is about keeping the leash loose. So if he's walking next to you and you're doing this leash walking exercise that I'm about to do, I would suggest doing it the way I do it. You put this loop on your thumb, you take up the slack, so it's just really easy because you can use the leash for any number of things. You're not, choked up on it. It's not wrapped around your hand like that. It's just really easy to do whatever you want with it if you hold it like this. And then the other, on your left, the other part of the leash comes out of the back of your hand so that when you do your little, okay, and then you do your taps like this. Okay. See how I'm tapping? Sit. You just tap like that. So Shadow loves the camera guy that's doing it tonight. And so he's fixated with Darian. Okay, there's a fixation with Darian. So sit. See, I had him sit sooner so he wouldn't sit facing Darian. He would sit this way. So it's something that you learn how to do over time. And so we're going to start with a sit stay since I just did that. You never repeat the command. And of course he did it perfectly here. Stay is built into sit. You don't say stay. I've never said stay. He knows that he's waiting. Even if you're in a safe yard fence and there's no way he can get away if he gets up, you can even drop it and walk away from him to practice a better sit stay. Of course, walking around him like I just did both ways is a basic sit stay. He's waiting for you to come back next to him. You can tap his forehead if he wants the treat. You know how he is when he gets excited, so he doesn't want the treat. But you could say good and he'll take the treat from you. Always make sure that you reward him. He's got to look up at you and you have to have eye contact and you say good as you give it to him. If he doesn't want the treat, that's his problem. He still has to do it. If he pops up before I release him, I'm just going to reset him and put him back. But in this case, he's love sick for the camera guy, but he still is in a sit stay, waited till I came back. You either release him to be free by patting his chest and saying, go. So it's just, go. Or to walk with you and stay in work mode, it's okay. And he walks with you and keep filming me because I'm going to do the little leash walking thing here. Okay, see how I'm always turning into him? Wherever you're walking, you're always turning into him. And okay, coaxing him to catch up when he lags behind, turning into him with a tap and a turn. Okay, come on, buddy, come on, walk. And then a tap and a turn, because a tap kind of slows him down a little bit so that you can turn into him. Tap and turn. Come on, buddy. Come on, let's go. Coaxing him to catch up, never dragging him the whole time. You notice the leash is loose. Okay. Always stepping into him to direct him where you want him to go. Always using your body. The leash stays loose. There's no stress. If you weren't doing that, you'd be dragging him around and you'd be pulling him around, and tension on the leash is your biggest enemy and will stress him out, and he won't be able to focus or think, especially in these early stages of his new life with this training, which has to continue. He won't be able to focus and think because the tight leash puts him in a state of overstimulation and gives him more anxiety. So we're always tapping and turning. Come on, buddy, coaxing to catch up so he stays next to us and the leash stays loose. Tapping and turning. If I want to go right, it's a great opportunity to do a left turn and go right. See how my body does all the work? So always turn left. Another reason for doing that is because you're establishing a pattern where if this is what you do for a whole month every day, he doesn't remember anything else, and he starts staying at your side like glue because you've established this pattern this way. And then you can start making your right turns later on using your target hand like this. Okay. And he starts following your target hand. See? Just like that. Something I've never done before, just right here. I think I maybe tried it one time with one of your visits here. Sit. but that's how you start doing right turns. First, get the whole left thing down, which takes care of 90% of any issue you would have anyway, like the leash pulling. But if you really want to do, go to the higher level where he stays at your side, whether you go left or right, that would be the next step. Or he wants to come to this target because of the come command, of course. So you can use that later on if you want to. Also, that turning left into him is a dominant move that every time you do it makes him feel like, oh, that person's in charge. It's a gentle but firm way to be dominant and makes the dog feel safe because he feels like, oh, that person's calling the shots. I can relax because I'm being taken care of. But dragging him around and forcing him to go somewhere, automatically they're triggered to pull away and pull on it. You got that tension. You're not using the right body language, and he's just going to get more stressed and feel like nobody's in control. So that's why we don't do that. And I'm talking so much, he decided to just rest for a moment. I didn't tell him down. But that's just some basic leash stuff. Okay, sit, go. The other part is most of the walk, because the walk is supposed to be a relaxing situation for him. It's not about, you don't have to do dog training on the walk. Just keep that leash loose. Make sure that your left hand leash with the hand through the loop, right hand reward. If you need to call him to come to you, come. See how he'll go wherever your hand goes? Good, he comes to you. You give him the treat. Open your fist, give him the treat at the same moment, grab the leash, and then if you're calling him to come to you to do some training, sit, step into him, have him sit at the end of that circle, and you're ready to do other stuff. Go. When you're walking him, just let him pee and sniff and do whatever, but keep that leash loose. If he's pulling you, it's a tap. And we've already practiced this, so you saw me do it and you see how it works, but I just want to make sure that it's here so that in case you ever forget and you start having that problem again. It's all about, walking him on a loose leash, and then if he pulls, tapping. And then when you back away, he's drawn to you. You don't even have to say come, although I would love it if you practiced. Go. Come. Good. Just on the street. I just toss that food as a way to get him away from me. You always call him to come to you when he's looking away from you, like he's going to do it again. Come. Good. I let him take the treat, but immediately before he turned back to me, I called him to come. The result is the same, that he gets used to hearing that command and breaking away from whatever he's facing or looking at or after, and comes back to you just like that. And the reason he got such a great recall is because from day one I practiced in that way. It's how you practice it. Never practice it when he's staring straight at you, lovingly, like he is a Darien. Always call him away, at the very least, when he turns away from you, so that you can call him and he has to break away and come running back to you. When you call him to come, you back away, because when you back away from him, he's drawn to you like a magnet. When you stand still, it's not half as good. And as you know, if you're trying to catch him or something, if you move towards him, he's going to move away from you. So you always, with a dog, we'll do it again, go. Come. He's still facing away from me. Good. You always back away because it makes him rush back to you. And then later on, and even now I can do that because I've called him back to me hundreds of times, but you'll be able to do it as well after you practice. He's going to run back to you because of the way you practiced when you practice with him if you're standing still. So in a real life situation where you're at a curb or your back's to a wall or to the bushes or something, you can't back away, he's still going to run to you because you practice in this way. So when you are practicing, make sure that you have a space behind you so you can always back away. If he ever ignores that come command, good boy. See, it's all about body language and the tap of the leash. But you put the come command in there with the tap and the backing away, so that when he's 30 feet away from you, somehow he's off the leash, he sees you and he comes when you back away. Good boy. And something always good happens. So when you call him to come to you, it's supposed to mean, hey, I'm just calling you to give you a gift. That's why he loves to come to me now, is because in his mind, his perception is, oh, good. I love it when he says that, because something great always happens when he calls me to come. So even if you are frustrated with him in some way, pretend like you're not, because it's always got to be a positive thing, so that he always really wants to come to you when you call him. So that's why you want to make sure you follow those rules. Okay, bud. Down. All I did was at the moment that I said it, I also barely touched the leash. You don't say down and wait for him to ignore you. Okay, I'm gonna get into the light here because I'm standing in the darkness. Down. I think that you might at first have a little issue with him going down the moment you say it because he hasn't done this with you yet, so I'm doing it the way I think you should do it, at least for the first few days he's back with you. Just assume that he's going to hesitate when you say the DOWN word and do that at the same moment. So it's down with the leash. You'll see your foot barely touches the leash. It's actually him seeing your foot go up that makes him go down. All he knows, he heard the command at the moment you said it and he went there because of what you did, your body language. So I would do that for a little while. Because what you don't want is you don't want to be saying it, he ignores you, and then you force him down because you get stuck in that pattern forever where he thinks, okay, they say that word and then I don't do it and then they force me down and God forbid you give him a treat. Never give him a treat. If you have to put him into a sit or if you have to force him down, like really force him down into a down, he ignores the command. Don't ever give him a treat because you're treating him for a mistake. Only give him a treat when he does it correctly with the first time. But you can, when you're practicing the first few days he's back with you, or the first week or so, and you're practicing down like that, we'll call that a success. He gets rewarded like this. Good, just as if he's on the mat. So it's just the same way as on the mat, except there is no mat, obviously. You can practice down wherever you want to do that. And if, of course, you're always using a leash because he's not off leash trained yet. Good. But always hold on to the leash, especially if you're out in public. But doing a little downstay or sit stay at random corners when you're walking him, that always helps a lot. Good. So you're just rewarding him like that. If he tries to touch your hand or something, you pull back and say no. He's got to wait respectfully until you withdraw, then take it off the ground. That walking around is just called a stay, downstay. A lot of dogs have a problem with you walking behind them like that. They'll pop up, so that's why we practice this so much. He gets a reward for that. Good. We've been doing this video for about 10 minutes now, and he stopped the whining. He stopped his fixation with the camera person, and he's kind of getting into the mode now. Good. If he pops up before you release him, you just say no. If he pops up and comes your way, you say no, and you just step into him. Use your body to put him back where he was, and just put him back. Don't say a word. Don't say down again. You already said it once. And then go back and make sure that he does it the right way, and then he gets a reward. Good. And then the way you release him, there's only one way he ever gets up out of a down. Never call him out of a down stay or sit stay to come to you, because then he'll be confused. Every time you're practicing, he's not going to know whether you're going to call him or whether he's supposed to wait. Waiting for you to come back and get him is much safer than calling him out of a downstay or sit stay, because you'll never do that in the real world anyway, and he's not going to be in dog shows in a stadium. It's completely safe. So you always teach him one way and one way only. I don't care what walks past, what happens, what noises happen. When I say down or sit, it means to stay. And there's only one way you ever get up, and that's when I come back to get you. Stand next to him. You say, okay. You say sit, because you're always going to release him from a calm sit stay. With your right hand, you pat his chest and say, go. And he's free. The reason you don't release him out of a down stay, just okay, and he pops up and he's going to be all excited and jumping around, is because every time that we practice a downstay and we release him, we want him to be a little bit calmer every time, because we really, the byproduct of this training is that he changes 24/7. So we're calming him down, the whole dog, by the way we do the training, and it's so important about that how you release him matters so much, because you need to release him in a calm way so that that calmness he developed in that stay continues on. And if we're saying practicing the down, everything's good, and then we say okay like that, and he pops up and he runs around, he's all excited, we just destroy whatever focus we're trying to develop in him. So it's okay, and then sit, and then we establish this very calm. And you see, I always wait a couple of seconds. Go. He's really waiting, no anticipation. If he's anticipating and he jumps and he tries to go before you release him, you put him back and make sure he really waits until you pat his chest and say go. That's the only kind of release that is going to help him change over time. Okay.